We started with you, do you see, subclavian artery. This is subclavian artery. Do you see? This subclavian artery, do you see? No, not. This is subclavian. This is subclavian vein. This is subclavian vein. This is subclavian artery. Do you see?
Yes.
And here you can see its continuation. How to find it? It goes like here, between legs of the median nerve. Do you see? Here will be continuation of the subclavian artery continues into the axillary artery, and below then the clavicle, and the analogist of the clavicle, my finger. Below then it will be continuation of the subclavian axillary artery. Below then the lower border of the pectoral major muscle, it will called the brachial artery. In the cubital fossa, it will subdivide into the ulnar and radial. Here the cutted all things. You can see here is do you see pectoral minor muscle? Do you see it from coracoid process to the five ribs? And this is pectoral major muscle. From clavicle to the upper border of the pectoral minor muscle will be clavicular pectoral triangle. Behind of the pectoral minor, which has triangular shape, will be pectoral triangle. And from lower border of the pectoral minor to the lower border of the pectoral major will be subpectoral triangle. Clavicular pectoral, you can see here will be pectoral minor muscle. Do you see? From clavicle to the pectoral minor will be clavicular pectoral. Behind of the pectoral minor will be pectoral, and below the pectoral minor to the lower border of the pectoral major will be subpectoral triangle. These triangles, they are important for the topography of the axillary artery. Axillary artery, it gives some branches. Do you remember when we studied the brachial plexus? You studied brachial plexus with me?
Yes.
And do you remember I said you brachial plexus gave 3 branches behind, 3 branches in front of, and 1 from them. If you remember 3 branches which directed to the back, they have the special names, which include the word scapula, dorsal scapula, suprascapular, and subscapular. Do you remember?
Yeah.
My dear, so for your memory here, 3 branches which go from axillary artery in front of, they include in the word the name thoracic. Thoracic superior. For the mamma gland, do you see, for the, do you see, anterior side of the thoracic cage, it is called thoracic superior. Another, my dear, it begins, look at my fingers, it has common beginning and divides into 2 parts. One will go, do you see, to the clavicular acromial joint, to the shoulder joint, and another direct to the thoracic region. It's called thoracoacromial artery. Thoracoacromial artery. And another, it goes along of the lateral side of the thoracic cage, supplies the serratus anterior muscle, is called thoracic lateral artery. Nerve, if you remember, is called thoracic long, and the artery is called thoracic lateral. These are 3 branches from axillary artery direct in front of thoracic superior, thoracoacromial, and thoracic lateral. Another branch, do you see, rotates around of the surgical neck of the humerus from in front of to the back. It's called circumflex humeral anterior. Another biquadrigular opening together, I don't see it, together with the axillary nerve, do you see, goes to the dorsal side of the surgical neck of the humerus, and this will be circumflex humeral anterior, and for meeting with it, from back comes circumflex humeral posterior, and from upper comes the thoracoacromial. And they will do anastomosis, they will do arterial net around of the shoulder joint, the arterial plexus. It is very important. Listen to me. I will do flexion. I will press circumflex humeral anterior. Posterior and thoracoacromial will bring blood. By extension, I will press circumflex humeral posterior, thoracoacromial, and circumflex anterior will bring blood. I will do this press, do this by my this position. Circumflex humeral anterior posterior will bring. Because upper limb, no, and also lower limb, they are mobile. Very mobile is upper limb. And it is important for our function, do you see? And because around of the joints of the upper limb and also around of the joints of the lower limb are placed the big anastomosis. You can see another artery. Another artery. It is called. No, I don't see something here. It is called subscapular artery. Arteria subscapularis. It divides into the thoracodorsal to the thoracic cage and to the dorsal side of the thoracic region. Do you see? And another is called circumflex humeral artery. Do you see? Circumflex humeral artery. Circumflex branch. Artery circumflexa. Circumflex scapular artery, excuse me, circumflex scapular artery. Circumflex scapular artery by triangular open. I want to recollect you, look please here. This will be subscapular with teres minor. This will be teres major. Here will be surgical neck of the humerus. And here will be long head of the triceps. Surgical neck of the humerus, subscapular with teres minor, teres major, and long head of the triceps. By quadriangular opening, four borders, exit to the back, circumflex humeral posterior artery and axillary nerve. By triangular opening to the back directs the circumflex scapular artery. Circumflex scapular artery, by triangular opening, directs to the back, comes at first into the infraspinatus fossa, and after that goes for the meeting into the supraspinatus fossa. And if you remember, from cervical trunk, which is branch of the subclavian artery, suprascapular artery will anastomosis. This is very important anastomosis in the hospital, in the clinic life. You can see circumflex scapular, it anastomosis with subscapular from cervical trunk from subclavian artery. My dear, for example, the patient by catastrophe cut the head. Do you see? Lost the head. Do you see? Hand. And listen to me. We must decrease the bleeding. We can do operation by a long time. And you can see brachial artery, it will divide into the radial and ulnar, and the subdivisions will supply the distal part. We cannot, for the decreasing of the bleeding, ligate the brachial artery, because it is long for the distal division. If we will ligate, in 40 minutes later or 1 hour will be necrosis, and our operation will not be important. What we will do? The diameter of the axillary artery is more than 1 centimeter. And you can see, we can do ligation of the axillary artery in the subspectral triangle, because it is low topography region and we studied it specially for this. And we will do ligation of it, do you see, and blood. By, do you see, suprascapular artery, by circumflex scapular artery will come into the subscapular and into the distal, do you see, region of the axillary artery. Circumflex scapular and suprascapular, they have diameter into 5 times lesser than the diameter of the axillary artery. Did you understand? Because we will decrease bleeding in 5 times. Do you see? You can see circumflex scapular artery, do you see, from subscapular artery by triangular open will come to the scapula, And here it's anastomosis with suprascapular artery from cervical trunk. Remember, please, this anastomosis. Listen to me. Axillary artery, do you see, continues into the arteria brachialis. Arteria brachialis, brachial artery, it is placed in the bicipital medial groove. Bicipital medial groove is placed between biceps and brachial muscle. Do you see? And when the brachial artery goes here, it gives muscular branches by short distance to the muscles between which it is located. And also, it gives deep brachial artery, which together with radial nerve by spiral canal, by musculohumeral canal, directs to the back. Deep brachial artery. Here, deep brachial artery will give muscular branches for the dorsal group, which includes triceps and canals. And it divides into two branches after giving of the muscles. Collateral radial, which will go to the lateral or radial side of the elbow joint, and collateral medial, which will go to the back of the elbow joint. Collateral radial, collateral medial. You can see this is do you see branches which go? These are branches which go to the lateral. From do you see brachial artery? Near the beginning of the deep brachial artery, near the do you see spiral canal? Here do you see so below? No, by 1 centimeter, by half centimeters in the beginning of the deep brachial artery begins collateral ulnar superior. It comes to the back of the medial condyle of the humerus, to the back of the medial condyle of the humerus. If it comes from very upper here, it is called collateral and also superior. Did you understand? You know, the arteries which don't go very directly by short distance to the object, they include in their names very often the word collateral, because they don't go directly. And this comes, do you see, from very upper, do you see, to the back of the medial condyle, it's called collateral ulnar superior. Above, then the upper angle of the cubital fossa, which has rhomboid shape, about near the upper angle begins, do you see, collateral ulnar inferior. Collateral ulnar inferior will come in front of then the medial condyle of the elbow joint. These are all branches of the brachial artery. It gave deep brachial, do you see, besides muscular branches to the dorsal muscles, it gives collateral radial, collateral radial, collateral medial, collateral radial. And it, do you see, gives collateral ulnar superior, collateral ulnar inferior, and muscular branches to the anterior group. In the cubital fossa, brachial artery divides into the radial, which lies into the radial groove, do you see, and into the ulnar. Ulnar, do you see, goes between superficial and deep muscles, do you see, of the anterior group of the forearm into the ulnar groove. You can see radial artery. It, do you see, goes below by radial groove, but before its continuation below, it gives, do you see, opposite recurrence radial artery. Recurrence radial. It comes from lower to upper for production of the anastomosis of the net, arterial net around of the elbow joint. And it must do anastomosis. For your easy memory, if it is called collateral radial, for it is important to do anastomosis. It is called recurrence radial. For it is very important to do anastomosis with collateral radial. Radial will do anastomosis with radial. It's collateral radial from brachial and recurrence radial from radial. You can see ulnar artery. Ulnar artery directs behind, do you see, of the superficial muscles into the ulnar groove, and before its visit into the ulnar groove, do you see, it gives branch below. It is called interossal common. It is very short. near 2 centimeters. And it divides into the interosseal anterior. By anterior side of the interosseal membrane will go below. And interosseal posterior, which perforates interosseal membrane, do you see, comes to the back, and do you see, along of the posterior side of the interosseal membrane will go below. What now I want to inform you about following. If the interosseal anterior goes by anterior side of the interosseal membrane, by logic, it is easy for it to supply the deep muscles. Do you remember? And interosseal posterior will supply the deep dorsal muscles of the forearm. Do you see? You can see interosseal posterior, when it comes to the posterior side and goes, do you see, along of the membrane below, before its continuation below, it gives opposite branch, recurrence interosseal. And recurrence interosseal, it must connect with something. And we have only, do you see, one artery, collateral medial. Collateral medial will connect with recurrence interosseal from interosseal posterior. Ulnar artery, after giving interosseal common, which will subdivide into the interosseal anterior and posterior, do you see, it gives opposite branch. Again, very short. It's called the ulnar, recurrence ulnar common. Recurrence ulnar common. If the word common, do you remember by first lesson I said you every time the common for the division. Do you see? And this recurrence common will subdivide into the recurrence from ulnar, recurrence ulnar anterior, which will anastomosis with collateral ulnar inferior, and recurrence ulnar posterior. Do you remember, to the back of the elbow joint came the collateral ulnar superior. You can see collateral ulnar superior anastomosis with recurrence ulnar posterior from ulnar. You can see collateral ulnar inferior anastomosis with recurrence ulnar anterior. Again from, from common, but from ulnar. Recurrence ulnar, recurrence radial anastomosis with collateral radial from brachial, and recurrence interosseal from interosseal posterior anastomosis with collateral medial. Around of the elbow joint we have the 8 arteries, 4 from upper, 4 from lower, which will do anastomosis. If I will press by flexion this artery, the blood will come here. If I will press here, do you see, the blood will come from sides. Do you see? This anastomosis are very important. No, and my dear, come to the table. Artery, do you see, comes, do you see, in front of then the wrist, do you see, by radial groove. And here, do you see, it deeply than the abductor pollicis longus and extensor pollicis brevis and abductor pollicis and extensor pollicis abductor pollicis longus, extensor pollicis brevis, and extensor pollicis longus. Here will be, show me please, snuff box. Oh, do you see snuff box? It will come into this snuff box. Do you see? This is abductor pollicis longus together with extensor pollicis brevis, and this is extensor pollicis longus. Do you see? It goes this way. It comes here. Sometimes, if we want to decrease the bleeding, do you see, from distal part of the hand, we will do here section. By hook will expand it and will ligate. And do you see? And after that, it comes into this first metacarpal space. Do you see? It comes to the first metacarpal space. This is a radial artery. Do you see? When a radial artery is placed in front of the wrist, it gives the carpal palmar branch. Do you see? This is ulnar artery by ulnar groove comes to the palmar side, lies behind of the aponeurosis, palmar aponeurosis. Do you see this triangular white plate? Do you see? And it lies on the muscles of the palmar side behind of the panevrosis. Do you see? And directs from ulnar or from medial side to lateral or radial side. Did you understand? And before its continuation to the palmar side, it gives palmar carpal branch. Palmar carpal branch from radial artery, palmar carpal branch from ulnar artery. They do rete carpi palmaris, the carpal palmar net. Do you see? Look please here. Ulnar artery gives to the back of the wrist, and radial artery gives to the back of the wrist, the dorsal carpal branch. Dorsal carpal branch. Here, palmar carpal branches, they do rete carpi palmaris, and here dorsal carpal branch. But rete carpi dorsalis, it is expensive. Why? Into it, by do you see, posterior side of the interossal membrane came interossal posterior. It will bring blood into this net. Listen to me. Here will be interossal anterior. It will not come here. It below will perforate interossal membrane and will come, do you see, it will perforate interossal membrane. It will come into the rete carpi dorsalis. Rete carpi dorsalis or carpal dorsal net, it collects blood from interossal anterior, from interossal posterior, from carpal dorsal branch of the radial artery, from carpal dorsal branch of the ulnar artery. Did you understand?
Да.
Listen to me also. Radial artery, before visit to the back, do you see, of the hand, it gives the tina branch behind of the epinephrosis. And it anastomosis with continuation of the concrete ulnar artery. And they will do superficial palmar arc. Superficial palmar arc. Did you understand? This arc is formed by ulnar artery. And listen to me, it's very easy for memory. Superficial palmar branch of the radial. Ulnar artery and superficial palmar branch from radial, they do superficial palmar arc. Did you understand? Okay. From superficial palmar arc begin digital common arteries. Common.
It divides.
They will subdivide. They have for subdivision, but the number of the digital common arteries 4, because 3 from them for the subdivision, and the 4th will go along of the ulnar palmar side of the 5th finger to its tip, and this will divide into the digital propria, into the digital propria. Did you understand? You can see superficial palmar arc gives digital common, 3 from which inside in the interdigital folds he is free, because if I will do free action extension I cannot press them because they are placed concretely for the subdivision in the folds. You can see radial artery. It came into the first intermetacarpal space, and by which it comes to the palmar side. It comes to the palmar side. Do you see? And it lies deeply than the lumbrical muscle, than the tendons of the flexor digitorum superficialis, flexor digitorum profundus. It lies, this lies, do you see, on the muscles, superficial palmar arc, together with ulnar artery. And this, it is placed behind, deeply than the muscles. And do you see, ulnar artery, before its location superficially, gives deeply inside deep palmar branch for the production of the deep palmar arc. Arcus palmaris profundus is formed by radial artery and the ramus palmaris profundus of the ulnar artery. Superficial palmar arc is formed by ulnar artery and superficial palmar branch from radial. Deep palmar arc is formed by radial artery and deep palmar branch of the ulnar. Did you understand? From deep palmar arc begin the branches. Give me my forceps. Where I put the forceps? This is superficial palmar arc. Do you see? And this is deep palmar arc. How they are placed? Parallel. Here begins digital common and here begins metacarpal palmar. They come into the fold and complete into one. And digital propria, they begin from here. Did you understand? If I will take the bag, which has weight, for example, 5 kilograms, I can press superficial palmar arc or digital common branches. If I will take, do you see, the 15 kilograms bag, I will press superficial arc and deep arc and the digital common and metacarpal palmar. Do you see? When our back will be, do you see, very lesser, you can see the blood from deep arc will come to the fingers. But what will be if, do you see, the back will be, do you see, very big. Do you see? Will have big weight. You can see from rete carpi dorsalis, do you see, will come 1, 2, 3, 4 arteries, 4 arteries, which are called metacarpal dorsal. Metacarpal dorsal, my dear. Try to find any red, any problem. Not. Better. Come
Adina, it's
here,
okay.
Irina. You can see metacarpal dorsal. They will come by another level, by another floor, do you see, into the folds. Do you see? They will be distally than the subdivision of the digital common. And on the dorsal side, do you see, will subdivide into the digital dorsal. Into the digital dorsal. Into the digital dorsal. Did you understand? Into the digital dorsal. And the third will go by dorsal ulnar side to the fifth finger, to the distal phalanx. Do you see? You can see. Here will be metacarpal dorsal branches, which begin from retacarpi dorsalis, and they subdivide into the digital. For 3 from them will subdivide into the digital dorsal. Look please here. Interphalangeal joints. Here, 2 sides from interphalangeal joint. Here, do you see another interphalangeal joint? Here, 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 everywhere, do you see, they will communicate with, do you see, digital propria. Do you see? And these are called collateral interdigital arteries. Did you understand? Listen to me. If I will press the digital common, metacarpal palmar, superficial arc, deep arc, you can see to the fingers by these collateral arteries. They are placed on sides because I cannot press them. They will bring blood to the palmar side of the fingers. Did you understand? Look, please, here we supplied the 5th finger, 4th, 3rd, and we didn't supply the whole 2nd finger, and we didn't supply the thumb. You can see when, do you see, the radial artery directed to the back, it gave branch. It gave branch, do you see, which subdivides into the both dorsal sides of the thumb, medial and lateral, and to the dorsal side of the second finger. Is called arteria metacarpia dorsalis prima, the first metacarpal dorsal artery. When the radial artery came, do you see, to the palmar side, it gave artery, do you see, it gave artery, which divides here, here, and here. You can see here will be collateral digital, do you see, collateral digital, do you see, collateral digital or interferential. But this whole common artery is not very correct name. It is called arteria principal pollicis. Principal pollicis. Principal, this is general artery for the thumb. But why is not normal? Because it gives also to the lateral palmar side of the second finger. You can see hand is supplied by two arches, which are placed on the palmar side, superficial palmar and deep palmar. From the superficial palmar will begin digital common, which subdivides into the digital propria. From deep will begin metacarpal palmar, which will, do you see, complete together into the digital propria. Do you see? On the dorsal side, we have the metacarpal dorsal, which began from rete, from plexus, and which will subdivide into the digital dorsal. Digital dorsal by collateral digital arteries will anastomosis with digital propria. The thumb gets, do you see, from radial artery on the dorsal side, the arteria metacarpia dorsalis prima, on the palmar side, arteria principal pollicis, general artery of the thumb. Do you see? This is whole blood supply of the upper limb. Did you understand? No, I do.